Ragnarok Part 2: The Death of the Gods. You have been told that Ragnarok is the end of the world. That is only half of it. Ragnarok is the day the gods go to war knowing, every one of them, that they are going to lose. Odin has read the prophecy. He knows the wolf will swallow him. Thor knows the serpent's venom is waiting for him. And still, when the horn sounds, not one of them runs. They put on their war gear, and they march out to die on purpose. This is not a story about heroes who win. It is a story about gods who lose everything, and about the one strange green thing that grows out of the ashes when it is over. As the old Eddas tell it, this is how the gods die. The field of the last battle has a name, Vigrid. The Eddas even measure it, 100 leagues in every direction. A field big enough to hold the end of the world. From the burning south rides Surt, a giant of fire, older than the gods, with a sword that blazes brighter than the sun. Behind him come the sons of Muspel, a whole army of flame. And when they ride onto Bifrost, the rainbow bridge between heaven and earth, the bridge shatters beneath their weight. The way home is broken before the battle even begins. From the frozen east comes the ship of the dead, Naglfar, built from the nails of corpses. With the giant Hrym at the prow and the frost giants at his back. And at the helm, once again, stands Loki, steering the pale legions of hell, the dishonored dead, turned at last against the gods who were once his family. And out from Asgard rides Odin, golden helmet, the spear Gungnir in his fist. Behind him, the Einherjar, every warrior he has gathered into Valhalla since the beginning of time. Thor at his side, Frey, Tyr, Heimdall, every god you have ever heard of, drawn up in a single line, facing an army that outnumbers them on a field 100 leagues wide. The waiting is over. This is what the waiting was for. Odin rides first, and he rides straight for the wolf. Fenrir, the son of Loki that the gods once chained with a ribbon, comes across the plain with his jaws gaping wide, the lower against the earth, the upper against the sky, fire in his eyes and his nostrils. There is no space left in the world that his mouth does not fill. The All-Father, master of magic and runes and every wisdom under the tree, the god who hung himself for 9 nights to learn the secrets of the dead, rides into that mouth, and the wolf swallows him. Odin is gone, the most powerful god in the north, devoured in a single moment, exactly as a dead woman told him he would be, an age ago in the dark. And then a silent god steps forward. Vidar, Odin's son, the one who almost never speaks in any story, kept in reserve, it turns out, for exactly this. On one foot, he wears a shoe the Eddas say was made across all of time, from every strip of leather every person ever trimmed from their shoes and threw away. He plants that foot on the wolf's lower jaw. He grips the upper jaw with one hand, and he tears Fenrir apart. The wolf that ate a god is ripped in two by a god who never said a word. Odin is avenged. But Odin is not coming back. Across the field, Thor has found his oldest enemy, Jormungand, the world serpent, once so long it circled the whole earth and bit its own tail. Thor and the serpent have nearly killed each other twice before. Not this time. Thor swings Mjolnir, the hammer that has never missed, and crushes the great serpent's skull. And then he takes 9 steps, no more, through the flood of venom the dying serpent pours over him. And on the 9th step, the god of thunder, the shield of gods and men, falls down dead in the poison. The strongest of them all outlived his enemy. By 9 paces, nearby, Frey, the god of sunlight and harvest and every growing thing, stands against Surt and his sword of fire. But Frey, long ago, gave his own magic sword away for the love of a giantess. And now, on the one day he needs it most, his hand is empty. He fights the fire giant with an antler, with his bare strength, and the flame takes him. Tyr, the god who once laid his own hand in the wolf's mouth so the others could chain it, and lost it at the wrist, meets Garm, the monstrous hound of the dead. They tear into one another, and when it is over, both lie still. Tyr dies the way he lived, paying in his own flesh for everyone else. And in the middle of it all, two old enemies find each other. Heimdall, the watchman with the golden horn who saw the whole thing coming, and Loki, who steered the ship that brought it, the guardian and the traitor, the first to sound the alarm and the last cause of it. They kill each other. Neither one walks away. One by one, the names go out. The pillars of heaven falling in the smoke, exactly on schedule. And then Surt ends the argument. The fire giant lifts his burning sword and flings flame across the whole of creation. Not one kingdom. All of them. 9 worlds catch fire at once. Yggdrasil, the world tree that held every realm in its branches, the tree Odin hung from, the ash that stood before anything else existed, groans and burns from root to crown. The Völuspá says it in words that have not lost their cold in 1,000 years. The sun turns black. The land sinks into the sea. The bright stars fall from the sky. Fire leaps and licks against heaven itself. The ocean rises and swallows the shore. The mountains come down. And the earth, everything anyone ever stood on or fought for or loved, slides under the black water and is gone. Silence. No gods, no giants, no sun, no world. This is the end the gods marched toward with their eyes open. This is Ragnarok. But the Norse apocalypse does something no other end of the world dares to do. It does not stop there. The seeress keeps speaking, past the fire, past the drowning. And she says, I see the earth a second time rise green out of the water. The waterfalls fall again. An eagle flies over the mountains, hunting fish. The world comes back. And it is not empty. A few gods walked out the far side of the end. Vidar, who tore the wolf apart. Vali, another son of Odin. And Modi and Magni, the sons of Thor, who lift their father's hammer out of the ashes and carry it into the new world. And up out of the realm of the dead comes the one death that started all of this. Baldur, the shining god, murdered before the end even began, walks back into the sunlight. Him and the blind brother who was tricked into killing him. In the new world, they sit down together, in peace. The survivors gather in the green grass of a field called Idavol, the very ground where Asgard once stood. And there, in the grass, they find something. The golden game pieces the old gods used to play with before the world ended. They pick them up, and they remember. And there were people too. Deep inside a wood, a man and a woman had hidden while the world burned. Lif and Lifthrasir. Life and striving for life. They lived on nothing but the morning dew. And when the fire was out and the flood was gone, they walked out into a clean, green, empty world. And from those two, the Eddas say, all the new peoples of the earth are descended. Even the sun had borne a daughter before the wolf caught her. And that daughter now rides her mother's road across a new sky. The Norse are the only ones who looked their own apocalypse dead in the face and still put a sunrise at the end of it. So why would a people tell a story like this? a story where their own gods lose. Because it was never a story about winning. It was a story about how to lose. The Vikings lived in a hard world, famine, feud, a sea that took men and did not give them back. And they built a faith for people who knew the odds and knew the ending and decided that the only thing that truly matters is how you meet it. Odin rides into the wolf's mouth, not because he can win. He rides in because running was never one of the choices. Courage, to the Norse, was not the belief that you would survive. It was doing the right thing when you knew that you would not. And that idea did not die with the old gods. When Christianity came to Norway, it did not erase Ragnarok. It absorbed it. The green world after the fire, the shining hall the Völuspá calls Gimla, where the good will live, quietly slid into the shape of a new heaven. And to this day, a Norwegian watching everything fall apart around them reaches for one word, older than their church, older than their kings, Ragnarok. Total chaos, the end of the world. It never left the language, because on some level, it never quite stopped feeling true. And that is where we leave the gods. Next time, we climb down out of the myth and meet the men who believed it. How Vikings actually fought, not the gods, the real raiders, the shield wall, the axe, the terror they carried onto the coasts of Europe, and the truth behind the legend of the berserker. The gods have died, the world is green again, and the story, like the world, begins over. Subscribe and ride with us into the next one. And if you would rather let the old sagas carry you down into sleep tonight, the Sleep Sagas playlist is waiting on your screen. Until then, I'll see you by the next fire.